Hi everyone, our journal page, and I'm working in this quite large journal. It's like almost A3, and I hope most of it is in frame. So I'm starting this page with this image that it's from a coloring book. I've colored part of it. It was enough for me, and then I thought to incorporate it into an art journal page. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put some glue in the back and start building my page around it. And of course you can print out any free printables from the internet that you like. So many free printables out there to use in your art journal. So I'm just placing it here. Good enough. And I've got another page from a coloring book. I'm going to just put some pieces randomly around. Mostly it's for details in the background, and we'll see how it goes. Let's see. Part of it will just disappear. Not everything is going to be front and center. It's more adding visual interest in the back and some kind of repetitive pattern. Of course, you don't have to do this with a coloring book. You can just stamp or stencil whatever elements you like in the back. Let's see. I'm trying not to overthink it. Just spread some pieces all around. I'll just trim the excess later here at the bottom, what's sticking out of my page, and just putting one more piece here. Okay, so I've got this. Now I want my edges of all these pieces to blend into the page. I'm going to use gesso for it. Now I've put some gesso in this condiment bottle. I don't know if it will work. We'll see. So I'm just going to do this with my finger, like so. So it seems like it's working. And I want to go over all the places in between and put the gesso, not only on the edges. I've added a little bit of water to my gesso. It was quite thick, so I wasn't sure it would work with the condiment bottle. So it seems like it's working. So maybe too much, but okay. Oopsie. Yeah, too excited. So I'm just going to work the gesso like this until I feel everything is blended to my liking. I also thinking maybe pushing back some of this with a very thin layer. I'm just using my fingers, but you can take any brush you want and just do the same. So I'm going to continue doing this and when I'm finished I'll be back. Okay, finished with the gesso. I've got several blue and green and turquoise here, acrylic paints, and I'm just going to use this makeup sponge and start spreading them around. I'm thinking thinly, so my details will keep. And again, I'm going to make this quite random. I'm putting down paint in several places, like so, and I'm looking for some kind of a blended look, like so. And I'm switching to another color, and again just smearing it and going on part of the detail, but as you can see it's still visible through the thin layer. If you're having trouble using a makeup sponge and keep the paint thin, you can always take a baby wipe and do the same thing. And I'm blending and changing between the colors. I'm not cleaning my sponge. Whatever goes. You see, and because I'm not cleaning and not waiting for the paint to dry, I get all kinds of shades in between, and I really like it. So I'm just switching in between and hoping to have a nice blended look. There's going to be lots of other stuff on top, so I'm not concerned if it's not really blended. Okay. So I've got coverage, and I'm just going to add a little bit in several places. There are no rules to it, just have fun with the colors. If you think in some place the layer of paint is too thin, just add until you're satisfied. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm thinking of doing some stamping for added detail and some stenciling, and I'm not sure yet how what exactly is going where, but that's what I'm aiming for. So I'm going to let this dry, and then I'll come back. Okay, paint is dry, and I've picked these stamps. I bought them on AliExpress a long time ago, so don't remember where I found them exactly, and just wanted something that will go with the rest of this theme, sea theme I've got here. And I've got Memento Nautical Blue ink pad. I'm using this, it's a permanent ink, not like the distress inks, because I'm planning on adding some, probably more paint on top, and I don't want this to smear. And I'm going to just again randomly stamp around my page. Part of adding interest, and also it helps to blend everything together. You are repeating the same pattern, and it just makes everything come together. So yeah, okay, I really like it. Maybe just a little bit more here, switching to this swirly thing, and again just adding it in several places quite randomly. Okay, it's starting to take shape like I like it. Okay, moving this aside, I want to add something a little bit more. I'm taking this very light blue acrylic paint, and let's see, I'm thinking, I don't know, I wanted to do some like stamping with a bubble wrap, but I'm not sure about it. But maybe not with this color. What color do I want to use? I don't want it to be too obvious on my page, but well, I'm taking some turquoise, I think, yeah. And let's see. Well, just putting some paint on the bubble wrap, and again, quite randomly adding details. Don't know how much of it you can see, but it's here, and it's just part of the layering and adding interest. Okay, really liking it. Just maybe here. It's adding a visual texture mostly. Yeah. Okay. So finished with the bubble wrap, and I want some stenciling on top of it, and I'm thinking now I'm going to use the light blue. So I've picked a stencil with these waves, and I'm hoping that this will just add something more. Where is my here it is. So I've got my sponge, and I'm going to do this again quite randomly, just adding one more layer and detail to my page, and I'm going lightly about it. Again, it does so it won't take center stage, so it won't overwhelm the page. I still want this to be my focal image and not something else. So I'm just doing this, and with very light, I'm not pushing the sponge. I'm even continuing when I hardly have paint on it, so it's fading into the back. I'm going a little bit on top of my image, which helps it blend into the background, so it won't stick out like something that out of place and not part of the whole thing. Okay, let's move this a little bit. Just a little bit more, I think, here. Yes. In several places I even think that I could have done it a little bit more noticeable, so maybe I'll just go over it a little bit, like here you can always go back and add more. Yeah, just a little bit more. Yeah, so I'm going to let this dry. I'm thinking it just needs something, just a little bit something more. I'm not sure yet, so I'm going to take a step back, let it dry, and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back, and I really like what's going on, but I feel like something is missing. Background is great, image how it's blended into the background, great, but something is missing. So I've picked this stencil that I made, and I have here some dark green that I'm going to add to this turquoise, and I don't know what will come out of it, but I didn't want it to be too dark, and I didn't want it to be turquoise because I already have it on my page. So I'm hoping for something that would be a little bit darker but not too much. So I'm just starting to stencil. I need to hold my stencil, it's quite moving on me, but it is what it is. So I'm just dabbing my sponge in the two paints and hoping again to have all kinds of shade as I'm stenciling. I don't like a solid paint color, solid color, because then it looks flat, and I'm also moving back and adding in several places when I think it's too much of the same color, but otherwise just stenciling. And it's a little bit difficult here, the spiral is in my way, but never mind, good enough, doesn't have to be perfect. And I can always go with some kind of marker later on and make it a little bit more perfect if I want it to be perfect. So I'm just going to I think I'm kind of going to frame my page with this seaweed stencil that I made, and or at least this side, I'm not sure, I'm just playing with it and seeing how it goes with the rest. So I'm going to, I think here I'm going to do this, and we'll see, maybe add a little bit from the lighter color, still have it here on my silicone mat. This is a plain silicone baking mat from baking aisle in the cheap store, nothing special. Okay, maybe I'll do some contour line around the seaweeds so they will look more distinct, not sure yet. Maybe black so it will go with the rest of this image. So I'm going to continue just stenciling some more seaweed and then I'll come back. Okay, I'm back, and I had to restrain myself from covering the whole page with seaweed because I don't want to cover this lovely background that I've worked on. So I'm leaving it be with the seaweeds. I am going to add just one more element. I have this stamp I've made from a craft foam, and I'm just putting a little bit of acrylic paint with my finger with the leftover paint I've got here, and just stamping it. It's not a great print, don't care, don't know why I need it. Maybe I should stop, but I just felt I needed a little bit more. I think this is it for this page. I was going for some contour lines with black to the seaweeds, but decided I'm going to leave it be. If I will add black to them, it would pop too much, and then this corner of the page will feel empty. I don't know how to explain it, so I'm just leaving it as is. I think later on maybe I will write something here, I'm not sure, but right now this is it. I hope you liked it. I hope you will find your own images, print, or coloring books to incorporate into your art journal. So thank you for watching, and thank you for leaving me comments down below. I'll be seeing you in my next video. Bye for now.